In this session, we will understand how to handle structured and unstructured data with SQL and MongoDB. Let us see the agenda. At first, we will understand what is data and why data is a trending topic, how we can easily extract information from data, and what is this big data, that is the volume of data, this enormous amount of data, how we can use it so that we can easily get insights from it. With that, we will understand live examples of enormous amount of data, that is the data sets. Then we will move further towards types of data, which we can also say as the types of big data. Then we will move further towards structured data as well as unstructured data. We will cover the forms of structured data, how it is stored, how we handle it through SQL. We will also see what is unstructured data, its forms, how it is stored, and how we handle unstructured data with NoSQL, and what is NoSQL. At the end, we will understand what is the difference between SQL and NoSQL, and at the end, you can ask questions in the comment section. Let's move further. Before that, guys, here is my profile. I'm Amit, the one who owns Amit Things YouTube channel, as well as I am a founder at studiopedia.com. My YouTube channel is getting more than 1 million views per month. Okay, and this is my LinkedIn and Insta profile. You can follow me there. With that, guys, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, Amit Things. Let's move further. At first, guys, we'll be focusing on what is data, why everyone is discussing data these days, and what is data science. We'll also discuss that. So data, you can say any qualitative, quantitative numbers and facts forms which you can store digitally is known as data. Okay, for example, you have your mobile phone. Within that, you have text document, videos, images, your messages on WhatsApp, your messages on phone. With that, all the images, messages, documents, PDF document, Word document, Excel on your desktop and laptop also comes under data. Herein you can see all these are digitally stored in a form which is called data. Qualitative can be your messages like hi, how are you, hope you're doing well. On WhatsApp you can say. Quantitative are numbers, and facts can be any fact. Okay, these all are digitally stored, which we call data. Remember that data is a plural term. The singular form of data is datum. Okay, now let's move further. How information is extracted, we are studying this since childhood, that we have a data, we process the data, this is the extra step, and then information is generated. A simple example, let's say I told you that China is the most populated country, okay, in the world. So I just gave you a data, a fact. Now the information you can extract from there is, let's say these are the top 5 countries, the top 5 most populated countries. So we extracted information from a data. This is the easiest form. Now volume of data, which we can say big data also. So big data includes that enormous huge amount of data which is very difficult to handle. And now you would be wondering why we need to handle that data, so that we can get insights from it. So basically in the beginning of the 21st century, all this social media data came, okay, and there was a need to store that data properly, to analyze that data. Here you can see the stats. This enormous amount of data, 23 billion text messages are sent every day. Google is receiving around 3.5 billion searches daily. And for YouTube, more than 300 hours of videos are uploaded on YouTube. Even this session I have uploaded on YouTube. This also comes under data. With that, Facebook users share more than 100 plus terabytes of data. Around more than 1 terabyte of images and videos are uploaded every hour on Facebook. The predicted data is 4.4 zettabytes. Herein you can understand, you must be knowing 1024 bytes is 1 KB, 1024 KB is 1 megabyte, and the same goes on. So we have reached around here petabytes, zettabytes. Okay, so this enormous amount of data needs to be stored properly and analyzed so that we can easily generate insights. An example, we can easily understand Amazon Prime and Netflix data. So more than 5 million users are registered on them. The companies analyze this data and understand that what kind of movies someone likes. Okay, on the basis of their behavior, they like biographical movie or comedy movies or thriller movies and other genres. With that, they show us recommended movies so that we can easily get what we want, our preferred movie type. In the same way, we can take another example. Let's say I like fitness videos on YouTube and I like fitness videos on Facebook. So I most probably go to fitness groups and like those videos on YouTube and Facebook both. So what will happen? Under my recommended and suggested videos, I'll be getting mostly fitness videos. How Facebook and YouTube got to know all this? Because they analyze my data. How much time I invest on Facebook on these fitness videos, fitness posts, how many times I share it. On that basis, they analyze my data, and they are now showing me mostly fitness data on my Facebook and YouTube platforms. So these companies like Facebook, which owns Instagram also, they basically show us data on our own behavior only. Even on YouTube, if you are watching a video, on the right the recommended videos you get are all mostly based on your own input. Now moving further, what are examples of data? So here and you can see the examples of data are visible, the enormous amount of data: scientific, statistical, transport, geographical and financial. Here it is guys, I told you the financial data, that is you can see the stocks data also. This is the stocks data, the market data, the Nifty, BSE Sensex data, Nasdaq, all these shares data. You can see the price changes. Okay, all these comes under data. Okay, whenever you will click on any of them, let's say the following, it will show you the current price and also the stats here. Okay, so all these data is analyzed and information is generated for users so that they can easily decide. Here is the data, you can see the plots, the bar graphs are visible. These are the insights. In the same way, we have our MCA data, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the company's data. Herein you can go and check the data of any company. Herein you can see the reports also, the company information, company statistics and other information you can also check. Okay, all the data of companies are stored here. Moving further, the statistics provided by our government, own government, data.gov.in. Okay, this includes the data related to consumer price index, all the statistics. When you'll go below, herein you can see complete village directory, crime committed data, and all other data are visible here. The air pollutants data, statistics of COVID cases, all the statistics are available here. You can get it from here by searching. The transport data is also provided by a government, so this also comes under data. Flights per week, you can see the road accident data, current location of running trains of Indian Railways, and all other data is visible. The vehicle tracking system also. So this all comes under data. Geographical data also includes your temperature, the temperature, you get to know the air speed. They tell you about the wind speed outside, the humidity outside, the temperature outside. This all comes under geographical data. Okay, let's move further. Now we are under types of data. We can also say types of big data. So it includes the structured, unstructured as well as semi-structured data. So guys, before the 21st century, all the data was mostly structured. Why? Because there was no social media, there was no surveillance data. Okay, so all the data, basically students data, college data, data from government offices, from private companies, used to get stored under tables, simple tables, rows and column form. That came under relational databases. Okay, so you can easily understand why it is so easy to manage it. That's why the name structured. The data is actually structured. You can easily divide it into rows and columns and form a table and save the data. That's it. Okay, then in the 21st century came the unstructured data. So you cannot store the image data or video data in the form of rows and columns, so it is unstructured, hard to manage. This is the actual need of today. This is why we focus on data science concept, so that we can easily analyze this data and get behavior from it, get insights from it. Okay, all this social media data, the whatever we tweet, whatever we post on Facebook, we post on Instagram, and the CCTV data, all are analyzed these days so that insights are being taken from it. Simple example, you can say the CCTV data is analyzed. Like in India also, even at the time of Kumbh Mela, there is a lot of chaos, there are a lot of people. So what the cops do, what the administrator do, they manage the data of CCTVs at a particular place in a particular area and check that there are no more than particular number of people in a particular fraction in a particular area to avoid chaos. So in this way unstructured data is managed. Now came semi-structured data. To understand this data, we can easily go through our Indian Aadhaar data. So Aadhaar data is semi-structured because stores data in the form of structured as well as unstructured. Structured how? The name, age, date of birth, all these get saved under row and column form, that is structured form. But what about our fingerprints or our images? They get saved as unstructured data in the form of MongoDB, I should say. Semi-structured data can include both of them. Social media data also, now you would be wondering how social media data is semi-structured. Social media data, your tweets, let's say 10 people like your tweets, 20 people liked your post on Facebook, 3 of them shared your post on Facebook. These all numbers can be easily saved in the form of rows and columns. Okay. But the images you post on Facebook, on Twitter, the videos you post on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, that are managed using unstructured form. That comes under unstructured data. The same goes for sensors. Okay. Now let us move further. Now let us focus on what is structured data. Structured, I told you before, structured data is organized data. As the name suggests, it is structured. The structured data can be easily stored in the form of rows and columns, that is tables. Here it is. So let's say you have student records. You have stored in the form of rows and columns. Rows are your horizontal part and columns are vertical part. Here is student ID, name and age stored in the form of tables, that is structured data. It includes number and values. I told you quantitative data, structured data is quantitative data. So right now only 20% of enterprise data is structured and rest 80% is unstructured. So you can see the need to manage unstructured data is so very required. I told you the structured data can be stored in the form of database tables, rows and columns. It is easy to search. Let's say I told you to search a name Amit inside a data set, a table with 100 rows, you can easily search it. Okay. So examples include student data. I told you college data, company data, you can say with the name of employees, age of employees, phone number, address and their department and other stuff comes under structured data. Now here are the forms and sources of structured data. Always remember, these structured and unstructured data have two forms each: machine generated data and human generated data. This machine generated structured data includes your sensors. Okay, sensors also comes under unstructured data. So some of the forms of sensors can be stored in the form of unstructured data, that is MongoDB. Okay, managed through NoSQL. And sensor data, let's say data of a smartwatch, heartbeat and SpO2 levels generated get saved under your structured data in the form of structured data. Weblog data, so let's say you have a website. So website generates logs. Let's say there is an error on your website. The website administrator will first check the logs for any errors. So weblog data is also a form of structured as well as unstructured data. Structured, why? The timestamp of weblog data comes under structured form, whereas all the other stuff goes through key value pair, that is unstructured data managed using NoSQL databases, that is you can say MongoDB. Server logs, I told you. Okay, server also generates logs and these logs can be considered as structured as well as unstructured. Structured, you can say the timestamp values at what time it got generated basically comes under your structured data, can be saved in the form of rows and columns. The time of tweets, I told you, can also come under structured data. The time of tweets, since it's machine generated, it comes under structured data, machine generated structured data, and the same goes for server logs. The server log times are generated by servers and systems only. Okay, in the same way, point of sales data includes, let's say we pay through UPI or using QR code. The point of sales data, the transaction data, including the time of data, comes under structured form. Now, human generated structured data, I told you before, the names, phone number, dates, SSN number, zip codes comes under structured data. Let's say student names, student phone number, student date of joining and the zip code. With that SSN number, let's say student ID, SSN number is social security number given to employees. You can consider it as a roll number for students or even employee ID for basically company database. Okay, so these all comes under human generated structured data. Let's move further. Here is the structured data. This is how we can easily, that is how structured data is stored. I told you structured data is stored in the form of rows and columns. Here it is, your horizontal form is rows and your vertical form are columns. We have 5 columns here. So this is our employee table, you can say. Here it is, we have a database. Then under that we have tables, that is database is a collection of tables, you can say. Tables have rows and columns. This is what I have shown here. So structured data is stored in the form of database, which is having collection of tables, and each table is having rows and columns and data like this. So this is a mere example. Structured data can include a lot of rows and columns. So this is just for explaining. Now you can see how we can handle structured data with SQL. SQL is tabular and relational. I told you tabular and relational means we create tables with rows and columns. Cross-platform, it supports Linux, Mac as well as Windows, and it is handling data since 1970s. I told you before. Even before social media came, all these data came under this rows and columns and tables forms. All the colleges data, companies data, employee data, all these data were stored as a structured form and was considered as structured. So SQL consists of a lot of databases. That means MySQL is also SQL based, and Oracle and SQL Server is also SQL based. These are one of the most popular databases for SQL. Okay, you can study any one of them and all are mostly related, and some syntax differences are here. So I would rather prefer you to focus on any one. That will easily make you understand the concepts of others. Okay, let's say we are focusing on Microsoft SQL Server. Here it is, you can see Microsoft SQL Server. The current version is Microsoft SQL Server 2019, developed by Microsoft. It is also used to create and maintain databases, tables, rows and columns, how to connect two tables, how to work around tables, how to fetch data from tables. It also consists of SSMS, that is SQL Server Management Studio. It is a UI form of Microsoft SQL Server that will allow you to easily create and manage databases. You can see, to configure, monitor and administer instances of SQL Server and databases. It is actually called the UI for SQL. That is, it is good if you will focus on SSMS to understand databases. Now how you will understand SQL Server to manage structured data? We have a complete tutorial for that. Herein you can see in the video description, I have added a free SQL Server for beginners uploaded on YouTube itself. Okay, it is having 39 lessons, and herein we will create a database AmitDB. Within that we will create a table employee and insert record, and we will perform all possible operations on a database and table with rows and columns. So guys, here it is, you can see. So this is what I told you, SQL Server tutorial, and here it is, all the chapters I have covered. I told you 39 chapters, and here are the chapters. Okay, so I'll add this link in the description so that you can easily get this tutorial. Herein you can see these chapters I have covered, all these chapters. The course duration is 2 hours. Now what is unstructured data? We focused on structured data before. Now came unstructured data, the need of today. This is what we need to manage today, and this is what we talk about in data science also. Unstructured data is unorganized data, that is you cannot save it in the form of rows and columns. So no predefined data model. It is non-relational, non-tabular, non-relational. Okay, 80% of enterprise data is unstructured. So social media data is enormous. So all this CCTV surveillance images and video data is enormous these days, due to also we can say Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these data are unstructured. So 80% of complete data is unstructured, and 20%, only 20% is structured. So structured can be managed in the form of database tables, but this cannot be managed. We can never store it in database tables, rows and column form. It is hard to search. I told you before, it is not tabular, so it is difficult to search it, because let's say your Facebook post is having text also, images also, videos also, documents also. So these are not in structured form, we can say. So all these different forms can only be managed using NoSQL databases. That is, unstructured data is managed using NoSQL databases. We will discuss it later. Storing Aadhaar images of users is unstructured data. Okay, images, storing images, videos, CCTV surveillance data, all these data comes under unstructured data form. What are the forms and sources of unstructured data? Just like structured data, unstructured data is also having two forms: machine generated and human generated. Let's focus on machine generated first. So satellite images data. So satellite images data is used by Google Map so that they can track live traffic. Data for medical imaging devices. So ECG, EEG, MRI, all these data have a form of images, 3D images, you can say. So it's hard to structure it. Therefore, it comes under unstructured data form. CCTV data. So surveillance data is monitored by cops also by administration, so that they can easily manage a number of people at a particular place to avoid any chaos. So this is very important data. Even you can say the self-driving data, the cars are having a number of sensors as well as cameras, even 360-degree cameras that actually checks in real time for the objects, okay, so that brakes can be applied wherever required. These checks are on the basis of road signs, people going through, or even animals. Atmospheric data, okay, atmospheric data includes the temperature, humidity levels, the speed of wind. All these comes under atmospheric data, and it's in the form of unstructured data. Last would be your radar data. Radar data, you can see the live tracking of weather, the live tracking of flights comes under radar data. That is also an unstructured data form. Now coming towards human generated unstructured data, your email messages can include text, videos, images, so it cannot be structured properly. It goes under unstructured data. Your text messages can also nowadays include GIF images, text, and other stuff. Like on WhatsApp you can share images also, videos also, so it comes under unstructured. Social media data, I told you unstructured, how you have tweeted something with image, videos, text, so it is unstructured. You have a Facebook post, you just posted with an image, another post you have with a video and text, so these are all unstructured data. Audio recording, your podcast, audio recording on WhatsApp comes under unstructured data. Office documents, Word, Excel, all these documents are in unstructured form, so it comes under your office document. It can include images and even videos. Moving further, how unstructured data is stored? It is stored in the form of NoSQL databases. Okay, so you can relate this with what we discussed before, structured data. We have a database, under that we have collection. Our SQL, that is structured data, has tables in this place. So here in database we have collection, that means a group of collections is a database. Within collections we have documents and fields. In the same way in SQL, that is in unstructured data, we have rows and columns in tables. In the same way collections are having documents and fields. So herein let's say you are storing unstructured data. How you will save it? We have shown it using NoSQL, that is MongoDB example here. We will discuss all this later. So we have a unique ID here, an object ID, and all the data is saved in the form of key value pairs. I told you unstructured data can be saved in the form of key value pairs because there is no fixed format of saving it. Moving further, how we can handle unstructured data? I discussed before, we can handle it using NoSQL databases. NoSQL is a document based databases. Okay, so I told you before, document based, we create documents in it. It is non-tabular and different from relational. You can easily guess here. It is completely different from relational databases. It is the most popular database of modern apps, especially after 21st century when the social media enormous amount of big data came. It is also cross-platform, that is supports Linux, Mac as well as Windows. The most popular NoSQL databases are MongoDB, CouchDB and DocumentDB. So we'll be discussing MongoDB here. Okay, the example I have shown before was for MongoDB only. So for MongoDB we have a complete tutorial. You can refer the video description, wherein we have added a link for a free tutorial on YouTube itself for MongoDB with 30 lessons that will be having live running queries. Okay, we will be creating a database, AmitDB. Within that we'll be creating employee collection and we'll be inserting records in it. Here it is guys, you can see our MongoDB course. It is having all these 30 chapters. I'll mention the link in the description. Here are the chapters which I told you. Okay, these number of chapters are available and 2 hours of complete course is available for you to understand MongoDB, that is unstructured data. So we understood the difference between structured and unstructured data. So you can easily answer this question now. The difference between SQL and NoSQL. I told you SQL is having rows and columns, relational, but NoSQL is not relational and it is not even tabular. It can consist of document based databases, the key value pairs, which can be handled using MongoDB databases, and others also, that includes graphs, nodes, rows and dynamic columns also. So we handle them using NoSQL. SQL came in 1970, I told you before, even before social media, but NoSQL came in 2000s. Examples I told you, SQL based databases are MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle. And for NoSQL I told you MongoDB, CouchDB, there are many of them now, because you can see 80% of data is unstructured, so we need a lot of databases to handle it properly. That is, NoSQL is the need of today. Usage, I told you, journal usage of saving in rows and columns, but NoSQL as enormous amount of usages to handle documents, the key value pair data in a log file, you can say radar data, all these satellite images data, all these are saved using these NoSQL databases. More than 30 NoSQL databases are available. So guys, you can now ask me questions in the comment section. In this video, we saw how we can easily handle structured as well as unstructured data with the SQL and NoSQL. We also saw what is data, what is the need of it, what is big data. So guys, thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, do subscribe to our channel Amit Thinks.